In our last video, we shared my response to what the most difficult or challenging part of living with schizophrenia is, or the most challenging symptom. And I also shared your responses to what the most difficult symptom or part of schizophrenia is as well. And I think it can be really easy to get wrapped up in the negative aspects of living with a chronic mental illness like schizophrenia. There's a lot of really, really difficult components and symptoms that come with it. But something that has really helped me with my own journey of self-acceptance, of accepting that I live with schizophrenia or schizoaffective disorder, and growing as a person, even with that being the case, has been trying to identify positive aspects of living with the illness. And I don't necessarily mean, oh, I really enjoy having this hallucination or whatever, but more along the lines of attributes or characteristics or, empathy that living with the illness has afforded me. And so in this video, I'm going to be sharing what I'm grateful for, I guess, to an extent of living with schizophrenia, but I also am going to be sharing some of your responses to what you're grateful for or positive aspects that you find about living with schizophrenia as well. Now, before I dive in, I just want to quickly remind you all about our online peer support communities. We have two different communities, one that is geared more toward people who are living with the schizophrenia spectrum illness, and one that is more broad in nature, geared toward anyone who's living with a mental illness or supporting someone who's living with a mental illness. You can find links to either of those in the description below or in a pinned comment on this video. And they're a really, really great way to connect with peers who are going through similar experiences to you or similar challenges or whatnot, and to just connect with other people who can relate to what you're experiencing on some level. Okay, so getting into what I'm grateful for as a result of my schizophrenia, I think it's important to clarify that I'm not exactly saying that I'm happy I have schizophrenia or schizoaffective disorder. I think if I had the choice, I would definitely choose not to. But that not being an option or a possibility, and knowing that it's just something I need to live with and navigate, I think it has been really beneficial for me to kind of figure out, well, what positives has it afforded me? Or what, benefits has it given me? Or what life experiences am I grateful that it's given me in my life? The first one that I want to talk about is kind of just the experience of suffering. And that might seem a little bit weird to say that I'm grateful for my suffering, but I think that that's kind of a really critical element of what it means to be human. And so going through this type of suffering has allowed me to, I think, connect more with myself and with other people around me. I created this channel and I'm just super vulnerable about some aspects of suffering that I go through, and the connection that has afforded me with you, our audience, and other people has been huge. And also the connection with myself. I feel more in tune with my own experience of what it means to be human in this world. And I think taking that a step further, it's also afforded me a huge amount of empathy. And there's that old adage, you never know what someone else is going through, treat everyone with kindness sort of thing. But I really feel that because of a lot of experiences I've had living with schizoaffective disorder, where I know that there have been times where I have been suffering a great deal and other people around me may not know. And so kind of making that assumption that anyone else could be struggling with whatever they may be struggling with at any given time without really knowing, or without other people around them knowing, has been beneficial in terms of treating other people with a higher degree of empathy and understanding and compassion. I think along that same vein, a lot of people have judgments or, stereotypes or assumptions about people who are living with schizophrenia or schizoaffective disorder. And I know that those are not true of me. A lot of them are not true of me or of other people who are living with the illness. And so that also has kind of taught me to approach other people from a really more non-judgmental perspective, and to just kind of be open to whatever they're willing to show you they are. I think all of this has really helped me, again, connect with other people, but most especially connecting with my kids. I feel like these attributes or aspects that I've gained from living with a chronic mental illness like schizoaffective disorder have really allowed me to be a better mom, a better parent, and a better partner, a better sister, a better friend, kind of all of these umbrellas or hats that I wear in terms of relationships with other people in my life. I think that it's really allowed me to deepen my connections and to show up in a way that feels good for me in terms of all these things that I've mentioned, empathy, compassion, understanding, non-judgment, all of those things have really strengthened my relationships and allowed me to connect deeper with other people. Okay, so that's enough for me. I'm now going to read some of the responses that you, our audience, provided about things that you're grateful for as a result of your schizophrenia. So the first answer is, it's made me a lot wiser and more empathetic. I'm a slow learner, but I'm very grateful to be a better person than I was. I understand that some people are fighting inner battles that we don't know, but also to just try to be a positive force in this world. Help who you can till you can't. Yeah, I really like that. And that's echoing a lot of the things that I was talking about having more empathy and understanding that other people may be having their own struggles and, approaching other people with that understanding and compassion is really a good thing that I've learned from schizophrenia, and apparently other people have too. The next one is, a few things that have been positive for me is that it has given me a new perspective on myself and my resiliency. I am stronger than I ever thought possible after years of struggle and pain. I took a disability retirement from my nursing career and have found new meaning in my life and family that I may not have gained until much later in my lifetime had I been in a state of wellness at this time. I am learning radical self-acceptance and patience, both with myself and those around me. Finally, having had these experiences and now being in a relative state of wellness, I have the opportunity to share my story with others. My husband and I volunteer support groups to give back to our community and hopefully help another person who is struggling. This means so very much. Sometimes I get angry or depressed at the tragedy of losing my career and those opportunities for advancement, as well as the many memories and cognitive abilities I've lost. But then I realize that I may not have found such profound meaning in my life, nor have appreciated it as much. So I really like this, that, again, teaching you what it means to be human kind of is what I'm getting from this in terms of understanding meaning or deriving more meaning, deeper meaning from your life as a result of having the illness. And then also, I really like how they talked about being able to help other people. So once you can kind of come to a place where you're on the path towards self-acceptance and whatnot, it can be a really beautiful and meaningful experience to help others along their own journey of self-acceptance and of navigating similar challenges to what you're experiencing. And so I really like that they've highlighted both of these things. The next one is, I would say it taught me how to remain in the present moment. It taught me to appreciate small things in my life. It taught me gratitude. It taught me resilience. It molded my path in life, my career choice. It taught me how to trust the timing of life and let go of what isn't serving me. It gave me strength. It showed me what matters most in my life. It taught me that I'm also deserving of love from myself, to be my own best friend. So that's the second time resiliency has popped up. And I love that people are learning that they're really resilient and strong and deriving, a degree of joy or pride, I guess, in terms of knowing that you're strong and you're resilient. And that's a really wonderful thing to learn from navigating an illness like schizophrenia. I also really like that they've learned that they are deserving of love from themselves. And I think that's a really beautiful thing to come out of this experience having learned. And I hope that other people learn that as well, navigating the illness. The next one is, I think one thing for me that was positive was seeing the people around me react to my diagnosis, seeing how they love me or if they didn't. If it was worth being around someone with a scary mental illness to them. It showed me who in my life really loves me and is kind to others, and who I had to let go of. It's a bit of a double-edged sword, but it has made my life so much less stressful. I'm lucky to be around a small group who loves me and helps me. I think, that can be a really kind of nice benefit, but also kind of painful experience if it goes the other way, in terms of learning who in your life you kind of want to be in your life. I think for me anyway, I want people in my life who are accepting, compassionate, empathetic, understanding, non-judgmental. And it takes a degree of those things to kind of be willing to accept someone who's living with a very stigmatized mental illness, or to help them along the sometimes really difficult journey of navigating the illness and of supporting them through that. And so it can be kind of a bit of a litmus test in terms of the kind of people who will stick it out with you. And so, that can be a good thing to learn, I guess. The next one is, it has completely shaped my art and how I express myself and cope. It is truly a part of me, and because of that, a big part of the art that I create. I love it. I'm an artist and filmmaker, and it has given me a voice and a perspective that a lot of others around me don't have. I think it's really unique, and I am grateful for how it has influenced me creatively overall. So that's really cool. I think if you can get the more challenging symptoms of schizophrenia or schizoaffective disorder under control through medication or whatever it may be, there is an opportunity to kind of embrace the element of neurodiversity and maybe the different way you're able to see the world. And if you can translate that into something like art and creativity, that's wonderful. And I hope that that's an experience that a lot of other people can tap into as well. The next one is, I have schizoaffective disorder and I'm finishing up my master's in clinical mental health counseling. Although I don't let my clients know that I struggle with mental health issues as well, I feel like it has allowed me to be more empathetic and provide a different perspective during my sessions. Completely agree. Having gone through the mental health care system and navigated living with a mental illness, I do feel that in my role as a social worker, I have been much better able to be present with my clients or the people that I've worked with. And it sounds like they have the similar experience where it's allowed more empathy again. That's come up in a lot of these comments and a lot of what I was saying as well, where it's really living with an illness like schizophrenia really instills a lot more empathy in you. And I think that that can help in a multitude of settings beyond just literally in a mental health counseling setting. The next one is, it has given me more compassion for myself. I know that stress makes my symptoms worse, so I have become more vocal about my needs. I respect my limits and don't berate myself when I'm not keeping up with those around me. That can be a really difficult lesson to learn, but I think it's really beautiful if you can learn that lesson through the lens of having compassion for yourself. Because I think there are times where I know and I'm sure other people get down on myself for not being able to do the things that I think I should be able to do or that other people around me are able to do. And so it can be easy to think, well, I'm failing in some regard, or I can't keep up. I have a deficit of some kind. But I really, really like how they've kind of framed that more as I deserve compassion around this, and I can be gentle with myself and be vocal about what I need. And I think that's really beautiful. The next one is, I'm also a lot better at hidden object visual games than my friends because my visual processing is always at work trying to figure out what the heck the inputs are, quick to analyze what I'm looking at, which is a neat party trick. I like this one, and I included it because I think it's funny that probably not something you would expect to be a positive or, a benefit or something you're grateful for about living with schizophrenia, but it's helping them in video games. So I thought that was kind of cool. The next one is, I would say for me, the most positive aspect of schizophrenia is the fact that I see the world differently. Sometimes it's beautiful and sometimes it's frightening. Just take it one day at a time. I really like that. Again, the being grateful for neurodiversity and being grateful for the different ways in which we see or experience the world that can be kind of different maybe than someone who's not living with a schizophrenia spectrum illness. And yeah, sometimes that can be difficult, but sometimes it can be kind of beautiful. And so yeah, leaning into the more beautiful side of things, I think is a nice thing to do. The next one is, the only positive thing that has come out of my experience is that I have a constantly renewing and vast appreciation, respect, or awe, not necessarily a positive feeling, for the potential and complexity of the human mind that I would not have even thought to think of if not for this condition. The experience of gaining this understanding is not necessarily positive, but the increase of knowledge, I always consider that to be a positive thing. I probably would have rather read it in a book, but such is life. So yeah, even that can be a positive thing in terms of increasing your knowledge or understanding, I guess, of the capacity of the human mind. That in itself can be a positive thing, and I like that they're grateful for that. The next one is, honestly, compassion. I understand. I care. I know it's difficult. It's all difficult. This is difficult. And we can't get through to the other side unless we all care about each other. I really like that sentiment as well. Again, echoing the empathy, compassion, understanding, and being able to give that to other people is a really kind of beautiful byproduct of living with an illness like schizophrenia. And so I hope that a lot of you watching have also experienced this. The next one is, I have reached a degree of self-awareness which I would not have gotten without the episodes I go through sometimes. Definitely agree. I think the constant effort it takes to manage and figure out how to live with an illness like schizophrenia and figuring out self-acceptance and accepting the diagnosis and all these things that you kind of need to be constantly working at have really allowed me anyway to better understand myself. And again, what I was talking about in the beginning of the video about what it means to be human. And so yeah, definitely a higher degree of self-awareness comes from the kind of mental gymnastics it takes to be constantly trying to figure out your own mind. And the last one I want to read is, it has made me more compassionate and loving to others and more understanding. It really changed my whole attitude for the better. So I really like that in terms of, again, taking the benefits of what it has taught you, what a kind of shitty illness like schizophrenia can teach you in terms of how to show up for other people, how to treat other people, how to treat yourself in terms of empathy, compassion, understanding, non-judgment, all these kind of beautiful qualities that you can then show yourself and other people, I think can really change your life for the better if you lean into them. And so I really like that they said that it's changed their whole attitude for the better. There were so many comments talking about empathy and this idea of, instilling empathy and compassion and that sort of thing within them as a result of the suffering or the experience of living with schizophrenia. And I think that's a really great thing to take away. I think it can be really, really easy to get bogged down in how difficult the illness is and the deficits involved with it and whatnot. But I hope that this video has helped to portray that there definitely are positive aspects to the experience as well. It may not be still something that you would choose to experience, but you can still take away positive aspects of it, and you can still choose to focus on some of the qualities it may have instilled in you or some of the benefits that we've talked about in this video coming from living with the illness. I know that for myself, thinking about these positive things that I've been able to take away from living with the illness have really helped me to better accept that I live with the diagnosis, better accept myself, and just generally helping with acceptance in general, which is really something that I think everyone is on a lifelong journey toward. And that can be more difficult with, added challenges like living with schizophrenia. But I think that, trying to draw your attention to some of these positive aspects that the experience has afforded you as well can be really beneficial. So thank you so, so much for watching this video. I hope it has helped to kind of maybe shift your perspective a little bit on what it means to live with an illness or an added challenge like a schizophrenia spectrum illness. If you have other things that you're grateful for as a result of living with schizophrenia that we didn't mention in this video, I would love to hear from you in the comments below. Also, just a quick reminder about our online peer support groups, which you can find links to in the description below or in the pinned comment. If you find videos like this helpful, where I share the experiences of other people in our audience and talking about different perspectives and whatnot in this format, I think that you would really, really benefit and find the peer support groups helpful in that regard too. Thank you so much again for watching, and as always, wishing you and your loved ones good health. See you in the next video. Bye.